What's going on, guys? This is the world's strongest man, Mark Henry, and you see me right here with my favorite and my bestie, Renee, on Oral Sessions.
Today on Oral Sessions, I am joined by none other than the world's strongest man, Mark Henry. Oh
What's
my
going
God,
on?
it is so good to see you.
It's better to see you. It's been a long time. I,
It
I
has
remember
been.
spending a lot of days sitting talking food with you, and now I had to find a pseudo replacement.
Wait, who's my replacement?
My daughter is interested in cooking now, so
Really?
yep. So she'll be like, "Dad, how do you make this?" And we'll sit there and we'll go over it. And I was like, "Are you gonna write it down so you remember it for next time?" No, let's just go and make it. And I'm like, "No, that's not what we're doing. I want you to write down the procedure, the process first, and then we'll go in the kitchen and we'll start doing stuff." So we made bread pudding, we made shepherd pie, we made chicken pot pies. We've been getting it.
The best. I mean, you must be in your glory with that, but you know that means now if you've made shepherd's pie that you have to make the shepherd's pie pierogies that are in my cookbook. Just
Oh,
saying. Just
well,
saying.
it's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is the dough your dough recipe in there too?
Of course. You think I'm some kind of hack?
Joanna will want to do hacks. She'll go, "Can we do like these cooking hacks?" We made one pot pie using crumbled up crackers and something hack to make a dough,
Was it
and it
okay?
was all
No.
right. It,
You want a real dough.
we need to make some real dough, Joe.
I mean, there are certain days that I'm like, I'll buy like the pie dough crust, but in the book, I make all of the doughs, all of the crusts, all of the pasta. You can't write a cookbook and not put that in there. But if
Right.
people don't want to do that, I get it. It doughs can be a little overwhelming,
Yeah,
but
I'm,
it's
I'm
good.
not making I'm not making pasta.
Oh,
I
I
tried to make
honestly
gnocchi
like
one day and it was a disaster.
I've never made gnocchi, but I do. I have a squid ink pasta recipe in my book, and that I put in the pasta recipe for that. And it's honestly not nearly as bad as you would think. It just makes a mess. Hence the name of the book, "Messy in the Kitchen." There's just flour everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah, especially when I'm dragging around this 9-month pregnant body. Everything just ends up on my shirt. It's a disaster.
On top of your stomach.
Oh my God, it's a mess. It's an absolute mess. Okay, we have so much to talk about here. Oh my God.
Let's
What
go.
is Okay, what a surprise. You have signed to All Elite Wrestling. How did this all come together? Congratulations.
Well, thank you. I talked to Vince probably about 6 months ago, and I said, "Man, I really, really want to do more. A Legends deal is not enough. For the usage of my name, I was doing a loan out agreement for them to use and license my name, and it was coming up, and I didn't want to resign unless I was going to be working there as an employee. One, for all of the benefits, but
Yeah.
also I knew wrestling and I know wrestling in a way that a lot of people don't because of the trainers that I've had and the coaches, the time span. I mean, I've been wrestling for 25 years
Mhm.
and I had the best people the whole time. I didn't come up on the indie scene, which is no uh, disrespect to the indie scene because I scout and watch the indie scenes more than I do mainstream wrestling.
Yeah.
Um, but we had that conversation, and he said, "Well, write it up. What do you want to do?" And I was like, "Man, I want to do educational programming. Like, I want to do community involvement. I want to be on the writing staff. I want to, be an agent." He was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, what?" He said that's like 5 jobs. I said, "But I've been doing all of this already
Yeah.
for free. Like nobody paid me. I did it at least the last 12 years, and I feel like that I had to brag on myself for the first time in my career, and I never
Mhm.
did that before. I never said, man, like I had to lie to get Daniel Bryan here. I brought in Braun Strowman. Oops.
Well, we'll unpack that for sure. Wait, what is the situation with Brian? Roll that back.
I saw Daniel Bryan at an indie show in Canada, and I was in Montreal, and I was like, damn, that dude's good. And I could tell that he was carrying the guy that he was working with. He made his ass look good.
Was it
So I
Sami
was
Zayn?
like,
I'm just
yeah,
kidding.
I don't know who the guy. I don't know who the guy was, but Daniel was carrying him.
Mhm.
And I said, they said Brian Danielson. So then I went back and I found him on social media, and I reached out to him and I said, hey man, I saw your match against so and so Charlie, and he was like, oh man, thanks. It wasn't one of my best ones, and I was like, it was pretty good to me. I was like, I want you to come to a camp, and he was like, yeah, for who? Because I didn't introduce myself,
Ah,
and I said, I want you to come to a camp down in Tampa, and he's like, oh, for WWE, and I was like, yeah. And I was like, man, I'm Mark Henry. He said, no, you're not. And I was like, yeah, I am. And I got his information and I passed it on to Johnny Ace. And Johnny, oh, how big is he? And I was like, oh, he like 6 feet, 6'1", about 200 pounds.
big guy, big guy.
I just lied through my teeth because I knew that they wanted bigger guys.
Hmm.
And he said, well, we'll bring him in. And once I transferred the information, boom, they started doing all of the scouting. I never touched him again. I never said
Yeah,
nothing until um, he ended up in FCW, and here we are. Hall of
yeah,
Fame guy.
yeah.
And I mean, I brought in Rich Swann and Uha or Apollo Cruz,
Hmm.
and I just started like it was a bunch of guys. I was mentoring Baron Corbin. I saw Braun Strowman at a strongman show, and I was like, man, your personality is wrestling. You got to quit doing strongman. He was like, I want to be champion.
Be a champ
The
somewhere else,
most
dude.
money I ever made lifting was under 100 grand in a year, and I was
Yeah.
the best in the world, bro. I was like, you need to come over to wrestling. And it took him 2.5 years, but he finally called me back and said, hey, man, you think you can still get me into wrestling? I said, hell yeah. I was like, I called Vince. I said, hey, remember that monster I was telling you about? And he was like, yeah. He was like, he ready. Send him on. And I just been doing that. I don't work in talent relations. I don't work in the whole recruiting process. I didn't get paid for none of that. I did it because I wanted to, and I
Hmm.
love Canyon Seaman. Canyon did a really good job. Um, he took me to the Olympics with him. He took me to the World's Strongest Man contest. We scouted at the this is not having a senior moment at the Arnold Classic.
The senior
Like
moment.
all of these places that we went to scout
Hmm.
high level talent, and I would support him if he called me tomorrow and said, "Hey man, I need a hookup." I know he works for the WWE. He's still my brother. I'm going to help him.
Yeah, of course. No, he's a great dude. And yeah, I mean, you look at all the people that have come in through him, through yourself. Okay, so you have that conversation with Vince, and then things just aren't going the way that you want them to
It's
go
just
with
not
him.
going. I wrote it up. He told me, to talk to Brad Blum, and I spoke to Brad, and I had a come to Jesus with him. I was like, look, man, like I'm not going to sign a loan out agreement using my name, and I'm not working here. Like
Yeah.
I got to get a job, man. I got kids.
Yeah, Keith Slater, take that.
Man, Jacob is eating me out of house and home. Just him
Yeah,
eating, I needed another job.
honestly.
So they came back, and Johnny had took Carano got released, and Johnny took that over talent relations again, and Johnny called me, And I wasn't expecting Johnny to call me. I was expecting Brad Blum or Vince to call me and say, "Hey, we still doing cuts and we still or whatever," and something to that effect. And I pretty much had made up my mind from when Johnny called me that um, that was them telling me no, and that's the way it was going to be. It wasn't going to get better from that point. So I called Tony, and because I've been friends with Tony for a long time before AEW was even born,
Yeah.
because of
He used
Jacksonville.
to
I had
come around all
friends.
the time. Oh, you've got friends everywhere for one.
Well, I'm connected. I'm a
You're
connections
connected.
guy.
Yeah, you are.
And one of their best players that they drafted, Tony Brackens, is a friend of mine.
Mhm.
Like that's like my brother. And I came to Jacksonville and watched practice and went to games and all kind of stuff. And so I knew Tony. And Tony's a big wrestling fan. So we would talk wrestling for a while, and then we would talk football. And so we talked football more than anything. But I
Mhm.
finally got to the point to where if I was ever going to do something at an executive role, or if I was going to be an employee of a wrestling company, I was going to have to leave home. I was going to have to leave WWE. And I considered that to be home for
Yeah.
25 years. And, home is not, where you are, is who's there.
Hmm.
And, so now I had to leave, and, I'm establishing a new home.
How was it coming to terms with that? Like I mean, I'm sure you and Show must have talked about that a ton. Talk about him making his leap over to AEW. I mean, even conversations amongst your family. Like, how were those conversations for you to like mentally get to that point that you were ready to jump ship?
I had been loyal because I had companies offer me more money in the early middle 2000s, and I never went. And Vince knew I didn't go, and we talked, and Vince knew my loyalty. There was troubles that you know I never talked about because it wasn't pertinent to talk about it, and I had got over whatever troubles that there were. Um, but I came to grips with it pretty easily because I knew I did all the right things. I never disrespected him. I never disrespected the business.
Hmm.
Um, I honored my coworkers, like the people that I wrestled. Like nobody could say anything bad about Mark.
Never.
I did it right, and I said, well, me leaving means that I'm going to have to reestablish a new legacy, and I was wrong because my wife brought up the fact. She's like, "You're wrestling is wrestling, regardless of where you are. Like, if you leave, then you just take everything you know and learned, and you go and you share it with those kids." And I was like, "Well," I was like, "If you comfortable with it, I'm comfortable with it," and we made the move.
Hell yeah. How exciting. Like, okay, so once you had talked to Tony and decided like, hey, I'm coming in, and now you're what exactly is your role within AEW going to be?
I'm a Swiss Army knife. I'm getting paid to be Mark Henry. Like
Finally,
everything that
right? That's
comes
nice.
everything that comes with it. I'm going to be doing educational programming. I'm going to be doing community involvement. I want the city of Jacksonville to love this company like they love the football team. That don't
Hmm.
exist here.
Right.
Um, I'm going to coach. I guess coaching is explaining psychology, and we use a term on Busted Open called tightening the screws. AEW is not broken. Like they're good. They got people already that live and die for them.
Hmm.
But there are little problems that come up with fine tuning. And even master guitarists and master pianists, they have to tune their equipment every now and then.
Hmm.
And that's a job that I have here. I want to be a mentor and lead by example. I My 25 years, I never got a negative thing about me. There was no drug issues, no alcoholism, no beating your wife, no showing up on TMZ for robbing somebody. I
You've
lived
always
an
been on the straight and
exemplary life
narrow.
for a pro
Yeah.
wrestler,
Yeah, of
and
course.
and we all know the wrestling stories. Golly, boy, we've
Sure
done it all.
do.
We've done
Oh
it
my
all. Dark
God.
side of the ring. That's all I'm gonna say.
Dark
Uh,
Side of the Ring, all these documentaries. I mean, how can you like unglue your eyes from that? You're like, holy
and I told Vince, I was like, man, like I hope you don't have any ill will or negative feeling. He said, Mark, he said, I know you're gonna be great at whatever you do. He's like, you approach things from a point of not wanting to fail, as opposed to wanting to have success. And those people always do good. I just can't do it right now.
yeah.
And I said, well, I mean, I appreciate you being honest with me because um, if I was to sit around and wait, I don't think that nobody beneath you is going to call me and tell me straight up what it is
Yeah.
because I think some people are fearful that I'm going to be better at their jobs than they are, which I probably would. And I don't doubt for 1 second that I am.
Yeah.
So I want the wrestlers around to I'm not to understand I'm not going to come from a place of you're going to do it my way, and I'm not that guy. You know who I am.
Mhm.
My point of contention is there are guys that are over. They like your husband.
He's all right.
I'm not going to tell him what to do. If he has a question for me, I'm going to answer it and give him my opinion, and I'm going to give him an example of how it will work because that's what my experience has done. It's given me a broader world of where to go and how to get there, and that's what I want to teach all these guys, and it comes from studying. So there's going to be a new culture added to what they already have of young people watching 1950s, 1960s, 70s, 80s, 90s wrestling till you're sick of it, and then watch it again. And you'll find things that fit you. And once you find those things, everybody knows how to wrestle. Okay, with the exception of one or two. But everybody knows how to wrestle. But when and where you do stuff is what makes you great. And they've only been around for less than 2 years. How do you expect them to know everything? I know they don't know. I mean, I think of stuff in passing and I go, oh my God, that would be so good if so and so did. Shit, I don't work for them. But now, when I watch, because I watch 17 hours of wrestling a week
Ooh,
for Busted Open. I
good
watch
God.
every program in the country and New Japan.
Good for you. Wow.
And so when people ask me and Dave what makes us the authority on what's going on in the wrestling world, I challenge anybody to be able to sit in front of me and Dave LaGreca and outwit us when it comes to what's going on in the world of wrestling.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's a tall order. I applaud you. Because I will say, I mean, since I've left WWE, I'm not watching Raw and SmackDown every week. I watch the pay-per-views, of course. I'll check into AEW. I mean, I have more vested interest there, watching what John's doing and all that. But yeah, I mean, that is certainly a tall order, but you're getting the job done. What are some of the screws that you believe need to be tightened?
We gotta work on the social media aspect. What's going out, what's being portrayed that you really want to be set. An example of people seeing it. Um, as you know, AEW is more brash and it's got a more of an adult feel to it at times.
Hmm.
You get people putting the birds out and all kind of stuff. But at the same time, you got to counterbalance that. And you got to do stuff in the communities where you do live events and in this community where, we're giving back to the city. We're trying to help, be an example rather than a problem.
Hmm.
Wrestling wise, I want to see less. Like, I want everybody to watch the matches before them because there's a repetition thing.
Yeah.
Somebody will do a tope, and then the next match will have two topes, and then the next match will have three topes. Like, stop trying to outdo what you saw before. Find something else to do rather than that. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
those are the things that that's kind of like repetition is the thing that's kind of a pet peeve of mine.
Hmm.
I feel like you're not watching the product if you go out and do something and somebody else just did the same thing.
Yeah, I guess it comes down to like working as a team too, and not just like trying to get your own in. It's, yeah, making the product better as a whole instead of competing against each other and going against the grain.
And I love the Bucks doing super kicks. Why are there three matches on the card where somebody does a super kick before them?
Right. Right.
Is there's a certain, like, if that was me, I would be upset about it. And I'd be like, hey, man,
Nobody else gets the world's strongest slam, all right?
yeah, like, come on, guys. Like, cut it out.
Get out of here. Okay, the commentary gig. How have you been like preparing for this? How do you see that going? How do you want it to go?
I've been watching wrestling and I've been talking over the commentators, saying what I
Oh,
would say
okay.
and put the emphasis on what I would put the emphasis on. And I asked a question to the person, why do you think that is? And then I'll tell you and not leave it up into that person in interpretation. Like, the reason he did that is because he scouted him out. He saw what he did last week. Like, you have to like process that stuff pretty quickly. But like, I've always had fun doing commentary. I used to sit with Booker T and we would do commentary in the back, and we were way better than what was going on TV because we were clowning.
Yeah.
And there's going to be an element of fun and clowning with me being out there.
Yeah, and that's something that I think is missed so much. That was something that I always wanted to do more of when I was doing commentary on Raw, and not really having space for that because everything needs to be so serious
Yeah.
and you're not trying to get yourself over or whatever, that it I always found that to be a little bit difficult, and it sucked the fun out of what could have been a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, Renee, somebody does something deplorable. I'm like, what would his mama think about that? Like, we're going to have some fun. And I don't want it to be super serious. You're gonna have people that your co-worker, like your partner, the extension next to you. You got to play good cop and bad cop, and I'm gonna let him uh, do all the brass tacks, and then I'm gonna be Jerry Lawler. I'm gonna have some fun.
Perfect. Perfect. I love that. I can't wait to like just dig into that with you. I think it's gonna be really, really fun. It's gonna be a great spot for you,
I'm gonna have to
100%.
call you for some pointers.
Don't ask me. We'll just loop somebody else in on the call. I don't know. I won't be your girl for that. I'll champion you though, big time. Okay, so going back to, you talked about, all the people that you have been able to scout for WWE in the past. I know that that's something that you're so great at, is finding amazing talent. And you mentioned Braun Strowman being one of those guys. What is your reaction to him being released by WWE?
I wouldn't have let him go. But you know what? If he wasn't happy and he asked them like for more grace and more time or more money or something, and they didn't want to pay it, then you got to part ways.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the circumstances were with their relationship. With me, I knew what that was. With him, I don't know. But if I was to speculate, um, there was an opportunity with him and Brock 3 years ago, and it never came.
Mhm.
And during the pandemic, he had a little shine, but it was not like if he was to be in that role now. And I don't know if it's going his direction. So maybe he was the one that was disenchanted. I don't know.
Yeah.
I love to ask him.
Yeah, me too. I would also love to ask him. I would
I'm
because
gonna have to send you his phone number, and then you can call him and say, "Hey man, I want you on oral sessions. Tell me what
oh,
happened."
I've already slid into his DMs. I'm like, listen, we got to have a little chit chat at some point. So hopefully,
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
get him on the show and get down to the
I get you
bottom
his
of what
agent's
happened here.
information too.
Great.
Like I have everybody's phone numbers and information.
Of course you do. I've honestly never seen somebody more well connected than you are. You cannot walk anywhere with Mark Henry
Hollywood,
without
sports,
him popping into somebody that he knows. Like you know everybody.
and it's not just the talents. Like I respect the people that put the arena together. I
Yeah.
respect you walk in. I know everybody in the production office. You walk in and you talk to the caterers and the makeup and you just respect people.
Yeah.
Just be a person. Don't set limits to
Totally.
who you're gonna talk to because of people's clout or positioning.
I'm
You know,
with you
I,
100% on
I'm
that.
not a private room guy. I'm in the locker room. Like I
Yeah.
don't want an office. Don't do that to me because
No,
that
you were like you're the guy that's always like sitting somewhere in a road case just having conversations with people. Like that's
yeah.
how I picture you backstage at a show. You're always available for those conversations. Like I feel like you're always cornered having conversations with people,
I
picking
sat in the
their brain.
airport on the way here yesterday and with Fuego and just tell him, and he was like, "Oh my God, man! If you can get them to do that," he said, "I'll love you forever." I said, "You got to get them to do that."
Mhm.
I was like, "You want advice? You come talk to me. I'll give you all the information I can give you, and I'll give you my opinion. And but you're gonna have to work on that with the office. You're gonna have to work on that with the producers." And he was like, "Yeah, well," I say, "But don't go ask until you got all your ducks in a row, because if you
Yes.
go in there half-assed, then they're gonna say no.
Mhm.
And then when you try to bring it up down the road, they're still gonna think that it's not over. It's not prepared all the way. It's not ready. It's not ready to take it out of the oven. You know."
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let it cook in that oven. I'm all about that right now.
Woo! Why are
Okay,
you wearing a Yankees shirt?
because it's one of the only things that will still fit me at this point.
I was like, you're a can. You're wearing a
Honestly,
Yankee. The
this
Blue
shirt is
Jays would be
huge.
mad as hell if they
So
saw you with that
I
on.
actually do have a Blue Jay shirt that is also gigantic that I can still wear, but I've worn it on here before kind of recently. So I had to give it a little buffer. But honestly, none of my shirts cover my belly at this point. It's insane.
Wow,
So
you
this
just
shirt's
walk
long
around
enough.
like crop tops.
Oh, I look like a mechanic. Like I look like I've got like a plumber's crack, like my guts hanging out. It's like it's a disaster on all ends. It's a mess.
It's all gonna go back to normal. It's all
Let's
gonna
talk
go back.
about your body because what is happening over there with this bod? You've lost what, 80 pounds?
All together from 2 years ago, the most recent is about 85 pounds, but altogether it's about 114.
Good for you.
I was 441, and now I'm 330.
Man, okay, how did you do it? What is the key to success and why? What is like the motivation behind getting this
I,
slim
I
trim
want to
bod?
live longer
That's a nice reason.
because you don't walk around and see many 65, 70-year-old, 400-pound people.
True. It's a valid point.
And I decided, as much as I love to cook and as much as I love to eat, I don't know if there's anybody that loves to eat as much as I do, unless you're on that show, 600 Pound Life. Uh, but it's, I would eat a whole pizza. And that's why I was telling your producer, like I would order a 16-inch pie and then I'd be like, what y'all want? Now I order 16-ounce pie. I have two slices. And it was the quantity of what I was eating. And I ate for comfort too. And I ate when I was bored. I
Mhm.
found myself sitting on the couch and I'd be watching TV and then I would wait for a commercial and I'll go to the kitchen and make a sandwich. And I wasn't hungry. And I was
Yeah.
like, why am I doing this? Well, I'm not hungry. And that's when I started to have those conversations with myself. And people, it wasn't a diet that somebody was like, Mark, I still eat fried chicken, fried fish, and lasagna and garlic bread. I'll eat one piece of garlic bread and one serving of lasagna. I'm not going
Right.
to eat half the damn pan and a whole loaf of bread.
Yeah.
It's like I had to stop doing that. Like I'm not a competitive athlete anymore. So when I said that to myself and I started like really putting the self discipline in, it started working. It was falling off fast. I mean, like really fast at first, and then now it's to a crawl because I haven't been training like I was. So
Right.
now I'm going to start back training hopefully in the next week, and I want to see if I can get down to 300 pounds. That's going to hurt. Me getting down to 300 pounds is going to be painful.
How do you feel right now, though? You must feel amazing having lost that weight.
Hold on a second. Let me see. Oh yeah, I feel great.
Feeling good. I just like, because even like, I mean, my perspective is so skewed on that. But at the same time, now that, even me putting on 40 pounds during pregnancy, I'm like, man, I can feel it in my feet. I feel it in my joints. And so many of like the women at the gym that I'm at, they're like, just wait until after you have the baby. You're going to be like prancing through here like a gazelle once you feel like you're like kind of back to, normal. But yeah, you must just feel like is your energy level up? You must feel great.
Yeah, but you know what? I think the biggest thing that I've got as a benefit is um, my my sugar and my blood pressure leveled out,
Mm,
and I'll challenge pretty much anybody walking through here to have a better blood pressure than me.
bring it.
Like my blood pressure is normally like high 120s, low 130s, over 75. Like I got people that's like 200 pounds going, how the hell is your blood pressure better than mine? Like, and it's just the regulation. I ate a lot of sugar too,
I've
and
been on that train.
I'm like a gray line diabetic, so I have to like really not eat the sweets, which like I cook intentionally just so I can make desserts. I'm I'm putting peaches on the grill,
Oh my
and then I'm
God.
taking them off. I'm filleting the skin off. I'm cutting those smoked peaches up, and I'm brown sugar and cinnamon and nutmeg and
So good.
get butter and
You do those
saute
on the
it up
smoker?
just so I can put it over ice cream. Guilty,
I
guilty.
did I did do a bourbon smoked peach pie when I got my smoker and it like
Oh
rocked my world. Oh my
yeah.
God.
Yeah, you gotta smoke
Ooh,
the peaches. People don't realize if you put them on the smoker, it adds a little bit more spice to it, and the
amazing.
sweetness just counterbalances it real good. Man, we started talking cooking again. You know how I get. You-
This will turn into a whole different show. Oh my God.
Welcome to
No,
Mark Henry
honest.
and Renee. We're cooking today.
We'll tackle that show down the line at some point. I mean, damn, I'm down. I am 100% down. I was saying before we hopped on here and actually recording, just that I've not been cooking at all during pregnancy. So I'm actually looking forward to kind of like reconnecting with that, but on like a healthy way. Cause I feel like I'm excited to get my body, and not even like aesthetically, but just to feel like myself again, to just like feel good and have healthy foods. Cause I've just been eating the most random things during
My,
pregnancy. So
my
I'm
wife,
over it.
my wife was the same way in both pregnancies with Jacob and Joe. I would cook and she would go, please stop. You're making me nauseous. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to smell. And I'm like, so what do you want me to do? You want me to just throw it out? Like, it got to the point to where I stopped cooking because
Yeah.
she just couldn't handle the smell of food cooking in the house. And we would pretty much go out almost all the meals because
Yeah.
it was what she wanted when she wanted to eat. Because man,
Changes
it,
minute by
it, it
minute.
yeah, like.
No, I feel
You said
that.
you told me that you start cooking something, and then by the time you was finished, you didn't want it.
Over it. Yep, I'm not interested at all. That's why I'm like, there's no point in me cooking anything because yeah, by the time I'm done with it, I'm like, ugh, I don't even care. I don't want it. Just give me some like saltines and a jar of peanut butter, and I'll call it a day. That's where I'm at. But it's all right. It's all good. It's all fine. Actually, hopefully by the time this airs, I will have a child and this will be a non-issue. That's what I'm banking on if I
You
hold out
have
until the
got to
12th.
wait.
I have to wait until the 12th for your birthday.
Got to wait till the 12th.
Okay, so just a few more wrestling things. What is your take on everything that's happening in WWE right now with all of the releases? I mean, we talked about Braun Strowman, but even beyond that, I mean, just from within the roster, within the company, the CEO, EVP roles, everything that's happening there. What do you like from the well, I guess from the outside at this point, but what is your perspective on that?
I'm kind of shocked at everything that's happening because when I look at, you know, when I look at the product, I think that some people might be disappointed, like talent wise. Like, morale has got to be down.
Yeah.
People's friends and comrades leaving at a pace that has been leaving, that the talent has been leaving. But it looks to me like the WWE is breaking everything up and closing some doors to get everything to be kind of normal for a change.
Mhm.
And usually when people break everything up like that and start moving and closing departments, it's so they can sell it.
Yeah.
And um, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't own it, so um, it's it's going to be something to look at because you see what happened with Peacock, and they had a network, and um, they went to Peacock, and now that's somebody else's responsibility, and they're taking all of the um, expenditures out and making it more of a pretty package to buy and do whatever you want to with it. They
Mhm.
killed completely. Uh, 35 people got canned in Los Angeles, and all of the people that were on the TV and movie thing
Oh, from the studio's
from the
perspective, you mean?
studios.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now you bring in somebody else that has his own idea of the way it's supposed to be run, and now you got to see.
And what do you think about bringing in people? I mean, obviously you're alluding to Nick Khan there, but aside from even that, having other people that have a different perspective that's not just pro wrestling, is that good or bad for WWE?
I think it's good from the sense that you might see a talent go, wow, we could use them in this TV show, or we could use them in
Mhm.
a movie or whatever. But it's going to be who they want to
Yeah.
do it, not because you have talent and or a certain talent for something. Um, but I don't know, Renee. I still think that um, it's more geared towards making it comfortable for what's next rather than what is. As far as all the people that are not wrestling people, um, leave the wrestling to the wrestling people and the executives in those suits that have come in. Let them handle the business of wrestling. If
Mhm.
they want to make a comment about it, go, yeah, that's a great situation. Thank you. But and do what you need to do for
Yeah.
wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's interesting. I mean, seeing all these heavy hitters joining WWE, and it seems like it could be a great thing, but wrestling really has always been its own thing, and either you get it or you don't get it. And maybe this is going to be bridging that gap, or maybe this is a thing that makes WWE or wrestling in general just no longer the like black sheep of entertainment is putting these things together. Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know. I would like to think that that would be the case, but history haven't proved that.
No, yeah.
So I'm gonna have to see it when it happens.
100%. I feel for the talent that is there to, I mean, it sucks to see your friends leaving and people getting released, and especially when it's people that we all know are very talented people that bring a lot to the table and they've just kind of slipped between the cracks or not been given the attention or nurturing that maybe they needed in those given roles. There's nothing worse than going to work feeling like you're on eggshells. That does not lead to good performances.
It don't, and is like I said, it's bad for morale.
Mhm.
You feel like pressed. Like if I don't go out here and do super fantastic, I might be next.
Yeah.
It's not a great feeling.
It's scary. I mean, I keep saying John and I were having a conversation the other day. I'm like, man, we got out at the perfect time, for us. I mean, John left what, a year and a half or so prior to me leaving. I've left 8 months ago, something like that, but to just like, I don't know. It's like we saw our own sort of future in the tea leaves about what we wanted to do just with our careers in general, and we're able to kind of pick and choose our own moments. But yeah, I couldn't imagine being there now and just being like, "What is happening?" Like your head would be spinning. It
Yeah.
sucks. I feel so bad for everybody there, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens over time. And hey, you're good. You've moved on to AEW. Hell yeah! I'm so pumped for you. Did you bring the salmon suit?
No, it's in
You got to
the
have it tailored.
it's in the WWE archive.
Of course it is.
I mean, if I want it back, I'll get it back. But I think that the memory of that was there, and I don't have no problem with it. Like
Yeah.
that was for the fans. They'll be able to see it, and I'm coming over here fresh and starting new. And I got a lot of compliments on my blue blazer
Yes.
that I came out with last week.
Now you got a good suit game. Did you have to go buy a bunch of new suits? I mean, you must have since you've lost the 80
Yeah,
pounds recently, the
all
114
I have
altogether.
I have jackets and suits that I can wrap all the way around to I touch under my armpits.
Yeah.
And I was told recently you should get rid of all of these suits because it's going to cost you more to alter them than it did for you to buy them. And I was like, come on, man, you can fix this. And the guy that does the alterations, he's like, man,
Mm-mm.
it's going to take me the time that I would make a brand new suit to fix this.
Yeah. You deserve some new suits. Treat yourself. Make it happen.
Cheap.
You're not. That's a lie. You are not. I've been out to dinner with you. You're not cheap. Okay, let's talk about Jacob really quickly because we had him on the phone before we started recording. He is a super athlete, a giant man at this point. Does he still have an interest in professional wrestling? Because I know he was like obsessed for a while. He's
He's
moved
still
on.
obsessed.
Oh, he is.
And
Okay.
he wants to succeed so he can be a big name when he comes into pro wrestling. That's
Ah.
his life's goal is to be a big success. And he'll say stuff like, so, maybe after I played in the NFL for 4 or 5 years, then I'll quit playing football while my body's still healthy. So I'll be good. So when I go to wrestling, I won't have any reoccurring injuries. And then I could go in and I can start. And I'm like, all right, man, relax, easy.
I
He,
like that mindset though. I like that he is thinking that far ahead because I mean, that must make you proud as well because he could, pretty easily sit back and be like, I'm Mark Henry's son, you know?
can't spend my money. I'm rich. He not.
He's
I
got to
got a
make his
little.
own
I
money.
got a little girl that might have a problem with him trying to spend my money. JoJo, JoJo's a better athlete than Jacob. She's
Oh,
one of those
damn.
that like,
She just track, right?
yeah, track and everything. Like whatever she tries. If she walked in the room with her cousins and they had one of those little scooter things, the little hoverboards,
Mm-hmm.
and
The Booker T
she had
special.
never touched one. By the end of the day, she was doing tricks and turning around, And they were like, how did you do that? Like, show it. And she's showing them how to do something that they've had for like a year.
Your
Uh,
wife's an athlete too, though, right?
yeah, she was a gymnast at West Virginia
Yeah.
and All American. Um, her dad was a boxer, was the alternate for the '54 Olympic team.
Oh, wow.
Um, Jacob is really, really blessed in the athletics department. He's got four cousins that have won Super Bowls, and he's
Okay.
got two others that played in the NFL that um, you know did really well. And you mentioned people's names and you know who they are.
Yeah.
So he comes from it. It's just a matter of him having the work ethic that I had and the using his resources, which he's a smart kid and is a good kid. So I don't have no doubts he's gonna be all right.
What'd you say? He's 6'2", 230?
265.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he's a big guy. I mean, he came in and picked up Cody off his feet and twirled him around. And Cody was like, man, put me down.
That's insane. I feel like every time I see Jacob, I'm like, oh, Jacob's a teenager. Cool. Oh, Jacob is a grown ass man at this point. Like it trips me out every time I see him. He just is just he's gigantic.
Yeah,
Well, good. Now you when you retire, you know that you're taken care of. He'll land somewhere.
I told him I don't want nothing. All I want is to go to a Pro Bowl.
Okay.
See what I did there?
Plant those
A lot of
seeds.
lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Plant those
But the
seeds.
reward is fantastic.
So what are you guys watching together? What wrestling wise is talking to you and to Jacob?
Jacob is a BTE fan.
Mm,
Like he loves Fuego. He loves Sammy Guevara. Um, WWE wise is all NXT. Um, he's all about the chase of the guys at NXT. Like
yeah.
they really do have it down on that show. Um, he loves Roman Reigns, and I was like, um, he sat at the table the other day, and he's like, Dad, you're gonna have to sit down there. I sit at the head of the table.
No, he
I'm
did
the
not.
tribal. I say, you tribal chief, you need to sit down before you get slapped. Like nobody's the head of the table but me. So like he loves everything wrestling.
What about you?
You know what? I love NXT and AEW. I think those are the two best shows in wrestling right now. Roman Reigns, I think, is probably the best wrestler overall with WWE.
Mm-hmm.
He earned that. He went through those years of being pushed to be the guy when he wasn't the guy.
Yeah.
And now that he is the guy, he is doing his just due. He's doing pretty damn good. Um, New Japan, I hate that they shut down
Yeah.
because I was really liking what was going on with Will Ospreay.
What do you
But
think's going on with him now? I mean, he's out with that neck
yeah,
injury.
he had that neck injury and he had to give the title up
Yeah.
and go back home and have surgery.
Yeah.
Um, I pray he gets healthy and we get to see him again. But
Definitely.
man, he's an unbelievable talent.
Oh, he's a trip to watch that dude. It's unbelievable. He is
You want to
really
see
on
us? You
another
want a
level.
surprise?
Yes, I do. Who just walked in?
Come on over here and say hello to my friend.
Oh,
Hello to my
look at
little
what
friend.
it's my favorite Dean.
Wait a minute.
What the heck? Is it Dean? Good morning.
Yeah, my favorite Dean Martin. How are you? What's going on? Just hanging out? Are you so happy to have Mark there or what? What a guy.
Did you ever hear the joke about the hokey pokey guy?
Classic Malenko. I'm good.
Tell
Not
me the
yet.
hokey pokey joke. Now you left it in suspense.
Give me the hokey pokey.
Okay, you know the guy who invented the hokey pokey?
Mm-mm.
He passed away. But at the funeral, they had a hard time putting him in the casket because every time they put his right hand in, he took his right hand out. When they put his right leg in, he took his right leg out. Thank you very much. I'll be here all night.
Terrible.
How's the baby?
The baby's good. The baby's still in my belly, so hopefully over the weekend,
To the 12.
I'm
He
keeping
doesn't
my
wanna-
fingers crossed.
Doesn't want to come out in this real world.
No, doesn't want to
She-
come out.
She.
She's
And
coming
Mark
on the
wants me to
12th.
wait until the 12th for his birthday.
Is it by Prime or FedEx?
Yeah, it better be an overnight shipment. We want express over here. Yeah.
All
right,
right, now beat it.
Beat it.
Bye, Dean.
I'm so happy to be back and see him and Arn. Like this
Isn't
shit
it the
just,
best?
oh my God. Like
And it's
that
like
was
seeing how happy everybody is
I love it.
amazing.
like not under stress.
It's the best.
You know, the pressure is down and just go and have fun. It's supposed to be fun.
That's what I've always like. You always think like, hey, you work in wrestling. It should be the most fun job ever. Let's bring that back. It should be fun. It shouldn't be so stressful and like everything under the microscope. I'm all about putting in hard work and making things come together the way that they should, but everyone should be having fun along the
Yeah,
way.
and you shouldn't feel anxiety about doing something.
Mhm.
I think a lot of the anxiety comes because that's not what you want to do.
Yeah.
And you feel like you're being forced to do stuff. And that's not just with WWE. That's with a lot of companies that I hear guys going, man, they just didn't have my interest. They did, you know, you look at Aaron Rodgers,
Yeah.
and you look at football. Aaron Rodgers is the same thing. He's not even wrestling. He's like, man, all you can just consider me. Like, let me give you an idea and you listen to me.
Yeah.
Just listen to me. That's all I want. I want to be considered, like that kind of thing. So I think it exists in every realm. It's
Yeah.
just a matter of how you deal with it. And wrestlers are really not trained to deal with somebody saying no or somebody not wanting to do what they want to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it can be heartbreaking. It's really hard to deal with that. And then you feel that heartache start to set in of like not doing the thing that you wanted to do and not feeling seen and heard. And you know, I think even what you were saying at the beginning of the show, I mean, that's another prime example. You had so much to offer and so many different things that you wanted to do and weren't
I
able to
felt
do
like I
it. So
wasn't
you had
doing
to find
anything.
exactly. And it sucks because you know that you bring so much to the table.
And I didn't want to use my connections anymore for other people to benefit from, which
Yeah.
I was doing. Like people would call me and go, "Hey, do you have a phone number for so and so?" Or, "Hey, we're going to be in this town. You know the media." Like I'm that wasn't my job. That wasn't but I did it anyway.
Yeah.
It benefited everybody, and now I'm here and I'm going to be doing it. And people going to say, "Good job, Mark."
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. Give the man a round of applause. Let's go. It's time. Well,
I'm-
I
I'm
appreciate
anxious.
I appreciate you joining me on the show today, and I'm happy that
Hell
I was
yeah,
able to
miss
give
it
you a
for the
little
world.
vocal warm up. Right? Oh my God. So good to see you. This guy. Well, hopefully the next time that I can actually travel again and I can come out to a show with John, we'll be able to hang out.
Awesome. We'll eat and we'll eat sensibly.
Yeah, we'll be fine about it. We'll pick at things. We'll have a bite here or there. We don't need to deprive ourselves.
Do small plates. We'll go to a small
Perfect.
plate type establishment.
Yeah, we'll do a little tapas.
There you go.
Do that. All right. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.